Hey everyone, it's Helen here. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you some simple techniques and different brushes you can use to paint this crashing wave at sunset. I've separated the top third of the canvas with some masking tape to get a nice straight horizon line. I've got a large soft flat brush, and the first thing I'm going to do is blend the yellow and white together along the top of the masking tape. I've rinsed my brush, and then I'm going to bring that pale terracotta down into the yellow a little. I've rinsed my brush again, and now I'm going to concentrate on blending the permanent rose and the pale blue violet together at the top. Just doing a figure of 8 motion and gently blending it together. When that's done, we can bring the pink-purple colour down into the yellow, slightly darkening it and giving it a nice warm glow. Now we can remove the masking tape and start working on the ocean while the sky dries. I've got some brilliant purple, a little cobalt blue. I'll also add some titanium white. And with my large flat brush again, I'm just going to mix those colours a little, swirl them around on the canvas. If you need to, you can wait until the sky dries and put some masking tape along the top to get that nice straight line. But most of this will be covered with our crashing wave, so I'm not worried too much. The main thing is to bring that paint down and soften it all so we don't get any hard edges that's going to poke and peek through our wave later. And then really just take off any excess paint on my brush, rub that into the canvas and soften it all at the bottom. We're going to make the bottom closest to us a little darker, so I'm going to add some cobalt blue, some more brilliant purple, and I think I'll put a few little spots of brilliant turquoise as well to peek through. And we're just going to sweep all of that on, blend it roughly, to get nice coverage at the front. Swirl it around a little bit, get some nice shapes with your brushes. And I'm just starting to think about the curve of that wave as I'm bringing the dark colour upwards. So it's slightly diagonally curving upwards. Now the sky's dry, we'll do a little bit more work on the sky. So I've got my yellow, pale terracotta and white again. And I'm going to make a very, very light yellow colour. My brush is completely dry, there's no water mixed in with the paint. I'm going to start dry brushing on the sun and a few clouds. The best way I think to do this is to just put a little paint on the brush at a time and slowly build it up. It's a lot easier to add more paint with this technique rather than try to remove paint from the canvas. So just a little at a time, keep it nice and soft and slowly build up the intensity until you get something that you're happy with. I'm sort of making my clouds radiate out from the sun. Just put a little indication of them as you get further away. We'll brighten up that area around the sun, just a little. And then we can move on to our wave. I've got some cobalt blue, a little brilliant purple again, so much the same colours as before. We'll mix that together to get a nice bluey purple colour. Add a little white if you need to. And the first thing we're going to focus on is the top of the wave, and that's going to be our guide. So I'm going to go about 1 inch above the horizon line and then diagonally come down from right to left Just dabbing that paint on with my round brush. And then when I get near the end, we'll just flatten it out a little bit as it goes into the distance. We'll make it a little bit darker underneath. And all I'm doing is just dabbing the paint on. It doesn't have to be blended completely. It's quite nice to get some different colours mixed through. We'll add a little brilliant turquoise onto the palette for later. And we'll start building up the curve of that wave as it's crashing. So I'm coming in with my lighter colours first and try to create an area where the sun is shining through the water. So the paint's dry underneath. I'm dry brushing this onto the top, slowly building up the colours and the shape. It's really just a backwards letter C, curving it around and bringing it down. And if you make a mistake, don't worry, you can come over the top with another colour. It's easily corrected. Just keep working on it, trying to get that nice backward C shape. We'll add in a little of our brilliant turquoise now, and we'll put that at either side of the yellow, just curving it around. And the C shape, the backward C shape, is going to get smaller as it gets further away from us. You can also use a fan brush if you have one, and that gives a really nice effect because you tend to get some lines coming through as well, and that helps create that curve and that shape of the wave. Just a little paint on your brush at a time, not too much, and slowly build it up. We'll put a little shadow right at the top underneath, and we'll leave the lighter area in the middle. And while I've got my fan brush, I'm going to make sort of a very, very pale blue colour with my brilliant turquoise and a little cobalt blue. And I'm going to create the nice rough water in the foreground. And all I'm doing for that is swirling my fan brush around, no particular direction. Just swirl it around, create all of that churning water. You can leave some darker patches and then just soften it off into the distance. Another brush you can use is a blender brush or a flat brush that also creates some nice lines, and it blends the paint really nicely together. Especially when you come into the bottom of the wave, you can put on some nice highlights and soften it and blend all the colours together. Just dab it on, and the only thing you need to keep in mind is the shape of the wave. Just keep that curve going and sweeping the brush backwards and forwards, adding different colours and some nice white water. And again, if you put too much paint on and make a mistake, don't worry, you can cover it later when it dries. Just keep building it up. You can also add some really nice soft colours with your blender brush as well. So we'll come back and start doing a little bit more detail on the wave now. We'll add some shadow at the top. Just dabbing the paint on. We can also add a little bit of spray water at the top so it isn't as solid. Put in some white as well. And dab that on all the way along the top of the wave. Now's the time to stand back, have a look and think what areas you'd like to make darker, what areas you'd like to add a little more detail to, and just move around the painting, adding some bits here and there until you get an overall effect that you like. I'm coming in with a small round brush and adding a little colour. I wanted to put some of that warm terracotta here and there as well. So take your time. Sometimes it's best to walk away for a while, have a tea or a coffee and then come back, have another look at it and start adding the detail. We'll put some very fine lines in the foreground just to create that churning water. Just swirl them around. Now for the sun, I've got my very pale yellow colour again. The paint is completely dry underneath, the brush is dry, and we're going to dry brush the sun rays coming over the top of the wave. Much the same technique as the cloud, I'd add a little paint at a time, don't add too much, and slowly build it up. It's a lot easier if everything is completely dry. We'll block off the top part with a couple of pieces of paper or scrap paper, and we'll just, I've got some diluted white paint on my brush and I'm just going to tap that to get a nice spray effect. Move the paper around a little as you like, put on as much as you like. And we're all finished. Thanks for painting with me today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It really does help.